Well, I hadn't shot any video in a while of the boat because I was basically sanding and polishing the hull, which turned out really well. You can't see the glitter in it because the metal flakes facing the ground, and it's kind of dusty now because I've been working on the top half of it. You can see the reflection of my fingers in the paint, the gel coat. So it actually came out very nicely. Very happy with the results, happy with the color. Now I'm sanding the top and getting it ready for gelling. And what I was just looking at there was a spot that needs to be touched up. There's a few places that got these. That's acetone, and this is threw away my stuff because I thought I was done, but now that I see this, I'm going to go ahead and take care of it now. But so I'm filling these. What I did was I made up some filler, some body filler using resin and Cabosil or Aerosil is what I'm using, Aerosil 200. But anyway, it works really well as body filler. So these little low spots like this, and patch these up because I'm going to put the countersinking tie downs, whatever you call them, on the boat. I'm going to replace these, so I'm filling those in. There was a few places that had been repaired by the previous owner that got sanded out. There's one of them right there, one of the previous owners. This was a mess right here. They had let it get up against something. There was a low spot here, a couple of low spots there. I just took care of them because I had the material. You can see where they did some work. This is some kind of Bondo material, but hopefully it's a polyester based product. He'll probably just go right over. That's what Bondo is. Anyway, like I said, the bottom turned out really nice. Again, you can see the reflection. I've already done the trailer. I did the trailer in bed liner material because it was easy to shoot. It covered up a lot of the imperfections in the trailer, and it's real durable. It's easy to patch if it gets chipped up. You kind of see it here. I put diamond plates on the trailer for steps. You can see the trailer. It's a little busty now. I got to get some new wheels. But what I'm looking at here is I had a crack here, but I think it was just in the gel coat because it didn't really come out to the end here. But I had one here that was pretty big. It was obvious it came down through the end here. So I made up some peanut butter with some chopped strand in it, mixed that up, filled in the hole. I ground it out first, sanded it, ground it, chopped strand with resin, and sanded that down. And then I was at the office and I found a ruler that the radius of the ruler matched the radius of the hull. So I was able to just go back after the repair dried, and I wanted to fill it in, and I wanted to use resin to do it. So like I said, I mixed up some body filler, and it's got the consistency of actual peanut butter, of thick peanut butter. You can see it right there. And use that to fill in these spots after I'd done my repair, and it worked out really well. And I was able to put this material in and then drag this down and scrape it clean. You can see it's going to take very little sanding to get that ready. The next thing that's going to happen is we are going to do, and you can see underneath there, I didn't completely polish that out because there's going to be a lot of equipment going in there, and it's really tight. It's hard to polish. It'll be a lot of hand polishing and working with a Dremel tool or something like that with a polishing head on it. And I really wasn't that concerned about it because, like I said, I'm going to have exhaust pipes in there, and the pump's going to be coming out the back end, and a lot of cables and stuff. You're really never going to see it. It's really just there for protection. But this will get this whole top end, this whole cap will get a coat of black as a base. Then I'll shoot the whole thing with the blue metal flake. It's supposed to be royal blue. And then here's my test board here. And then I'm gonna see what color it's gonna be there. And it should be a pretty close match to the original color. Looks pretty good. Anyway, and we'll shoot the whole thing with black, and we'll shoot the whole thing with metal flake. It'll probably take about 3 or 4 coats of metal flake to get it thickened up where you can't see the black underneath. Then I'll give it about 3 coats of clear, probably maybe 2, and then I'll come back and I'll tape these lines, and I'll shoot maybe 3 more coats of clear on top of that, and then I will reverse the tape with a little bit of an overlap, and I will shoot this blue, and I'll give it about 3 coats of this blue here to build it up. And the idea behind that is to get the blue as thick as the last 3 coats of clear. So we'll end up with hopefully about more than ½ a millimeter of clear, and like 8/10 of a millimeter of clear, matching the 8/10 of a millimeter of this blue. And then I'll come back and I'll sand it, and this line it'll sand through, that overlap will sand through and reveal the line here, and hopefully it'll be nice and clean like the original one. It's really nice. Of course, the process is done in reverse when you're doing it in a mold. It's a lot easier to get these clean lines. So of course I'm doing it out of a mold, and I'm going to have to sand back, and it's going to be a challenge. I'm also going to try a technique of before sanding, I'm going to trowel. I know it sounds crazy. I'm going to trowel or skim on my top coat of clear to fill in the pits, so I don't have to sand through the pits. So basically I'll be sanding through trowel marks to get down to my finished coat, rather than sanding through pits and possibly sanding through to the metal flake, and because that is a problem. The way you discover that you've sanded through is when your metal flake starts turning silver, because you're actually sanding the color off the flake, and that ain't no fun. I went through that down here and had to reshoot the whole thing. So this down here is about 8 coats of gel coat down there on this blue part, because it took so much to get this to look like this. But it is beautiful, and I can hardly wait to get the top done so that I can experiment with my new technique. Sanding through all of this, sanding all of this to try to get this to look pretty is not on my list of favorite things to do. So that's why I'm going to try this other method and see if I can't get in here and trowel it smooth, and then or scrape it. What do you want to call it? I'm basically going to use the same thing I used here. I'm going to use a body filler applicating tool, the little yellow thing I was using earlier. But anyway, so that's where we're at, and got the engine over here. I haven't started building it yet because I'm waiting on a cam thrust plate. And here she is, 520 cubic inches of raw speed anxiety. But we'll get it together soon enough and figure out if it's gonna fit with the new oil pan. But anyway, it should. Talk to you soon. See you later. Bye.